Welcome, my dear audience and friends, to the episode of the Cancer Convos. This is your host, Grace Charrier, coming to you from New York City, the city that never sleeps and is home to the Cancer Convos. Cancer Convos focuses on people dealing with cancer, cancer survivors, cancer patients. It's not a gender thing, men and women are included, but at the same time, we're trying to see that we bring smiles to the faces of people who are faced with this terrible, terrible challenge. We're hoping to give wisdom nuggets. We're going to be speaking with oncologists, doctors, caregivers, nutritionists, people that would be giving us a lot of advice on what to do when faced with this. On today's episode, however, I shall be featuring a very, very dear friend, a lady that has put smiles on so many people's faces, people, especially women, that have been faced with breast cancer and afterwards mastectomies, and who has been able to give them back their swag like she did for me. So without saying too much, just to let you know that she's one go-getter that has cut her teeth in the retail and merchandising world and has done so much and come a long way from where she started until where she is now. Where she is now partner at the reputable Linda's Bra Salon in Murray Hill, Midtown Manhattan. So, without spilling too much of the beans, ladies and gentlemen, I present you Angela Cukar. You're welcome, Angela. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Grace.
I'm so sorry for, being so persistent and insistent in making you, leave your job and leave your busy schedule and in coming to, participate in this interview. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I'm so honored to be here today with
Yes,
you.
thank you so much. Now, of course, the listeners and the viewers have heard me speak about you and all that, but I'd like them to know more about you. How did you come here? What is your background about? Where are you from? Where were you born?
I came from Croatia over 30 years ago to this country. I followed my husband, came here pretty young. When I got here, I must say that it was pretty hard not knowing the language, leaving my whole family back in Croatia. Only knowing few members of his family and coming from a smaller island to this huge city was very scary for me. So within few years, I had my son. So it kind of got a little bit easier, but still my biggest problem was, the most challenging thing was not knowing the language. So I decided to sign myself up for school at night. So I started going Monday through Friday, night classes. But with being pregnant with my son, after 7 months, it was really funny because I couldn't fit in a school bench.
Can you imagine? Oh, so sweet.
So the teacher was so great. So she would give me her chair at her desk. But I did not want to give up on not knowing the language in this country.
Right.
And then after that, 2 years later, I had my daughter. So it was getting easier and easier. And I was eager, like I said, to know the language, to, feel the surrounding where I am, and to get used to coming from that little tiny island that didn't even have a car.
Oh,
and I'm in a big, huge city.
Right.
With cars and everything and, buildings. It was exciting, but again, it was very, very scary.
Wow, that's fantastic. You shared with me some time ago some dark moment, in your life. It hit home, and I would like you to share with the audience to feel you a bit as to what happened many years ago. What was it?
With my son, my daughter were 2 years apart. So when my daughter was 2.5 years old, a beautiful, beautiful baby, so happy. I was just getting used to being here. I had my home. She got sick. So when I took her to doctors, they diagnosed her with stage 2 neuroblastoma. So for me I didn't know much about it, But when I got into the hospitals and they were explaining to me, I knew it was a life-threatening disease. And it was so rare 25 years ago in this country. She battled cancer for 3 years, and then she passed away. So those were really, really hard moments for me. It was really like the darkest in my life. It was, I hit my rock bottom at that point. But what gave me courage to move on and go day by day, I had a son. She passed away when she was 5 years old, and my son was 7. So having him around helped me out a lot. And I must say, with family, it's very hard to explain because if you don't go through it, people don't understand you. So what helped me the most was the group therapies, parents who lost their children. I was with them for over a year, and I never missed a meeting because that's where I felt the safest, and that's what I felt at home.
Did this experience, how did it change you? Did it make you bitter? Did it make you a better person? Because some other persons would be bitter against humanity, especially when such a thing happens in a place like the United States, where stuff is taken care of, especially in healthcare, where we don't have back home, coming from our backgrounds. Mm-hmm. How did this affect you?
Like I said, I did hit the rock bottom, but with therapy and friends and family, especially with my son, I decided to, you pretty much get into the crossroad. You can go
left or right,
or you can go right.
Yes.
So you have to kind of choose. And with group therapies and such a great support, it helped me see that I still have a beautiful son that God gave me, and I have a whole life ahead of me. And the last thing that my daughter would want me to do is destroy my life because she left me. Yes. I decided that I'm going to do the best I can. I'll seek any help that I can from family, friends, therapies, whatever I can do to make my life easier and to make my life live better. And to keep her memory alive. Yes. And that's what helped me out a lot. And I think it changed me for better, who I am today. Obviously. To way much better what I am today.
Fantastic. And did this eye-opening experience, how did it affect your son? Because obviously he was, close to his sister and all that. How were you able to transmit what you felt to him to give him positivity in his life? Or did he also have to?
He definitely had a rough patch because I was gone almost for 3 years. I spent most of my time in a hospital. So I kind of lost
a hospital with her,
with my daughter. I was with her. I pretty much never left her side.
Right.
And at that time, children were not allowed to a hospital except on Sundays visits. And for me, I couldn't leave her side. So I stayed with her, and I felt like not that I only lost my daughter, but I lost my son too, because I had to now, after 3 years, relate to him, and I was in so much pain that I didn't know how. So I put him in a therapy for kids that lost the siblings. And so that's the only way that I could have communicated to him. And till this day, he's always, he's almost 32. Yes. He always talks how she helped him choose the right paths throughout his life. So now we're very close right now. And I do have another son. He's 22. So
he never knew his sister.
He never knew,
but he always
asked, looks at the pictures.
Yes.
And he would always tell his older brother, like, you're so lucky that you knew her.
You met her.
Yeah, you knew her, and you guys were close. And he feels her. My older son always talks about her. So they would like, he would say a lot of jokes about her, and David was like, I wish I was around for this.
Oh, bless. Yeah, they say the spirits, of course,
Yes,
live on.
Yeah, they live on.
They live on.
They live on.
That's fantastic. In your LinkedIn profile, of course, we've known each other for a while, but obviously while wanting to know more, apart from what we know, it showed that you had started your love for retailing in a children's place. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Actually, I started that job as I was still, learning the language, but they gave me a chance to come on board. I had, 2 kids, so I loved shopping there. It was my favorite store to shop. And I decided to just apply and see, because I was a stay-home mom, I decided to have a part-time job while, my son was in school most of the day, like till 3 p.m. And I started there, and just the love being around people. And laughter of kids and shopping and the whole commotion, I just felt alive. And from there, I pretty much stayed with them for almost 10 years.
Wow.
And I became the top store manager in their district. But I just knew then that retail is something that I'm probably gonna spend all my life doing, not knowing which way it was. I didn't feel like it was it, because I always felt something was missing. Like I didn't find that perfect call for me yet.
Right. So when did you transition into where we are now, the lingerie bra business? What brought your love? Is it because you're beautiful and things fit you so well?
Thank you so much. Trust me, my bras didn't fit well.
How did you get into
15
the
years ago, they didn't fit well.
How did you get into the bra business? I mean,
it is so funny, because I was shopping in the mall and I saw this little boutique and it says bra fitting. So I was curious, what is bra fitting? I went in and I was just browsing through, and I know my size. We all know our sizes.
Right.
And when the woman looked at me, she was like, it's for you? And I was like, of course. She was like, that's not your size. So she said, let me just help you with 1 or 2, and then you let me know how you feel about it.
Right.
I walked out with a bag of
bras.
bag of bras, not one. And driving home, she let me wear one out, and I was like so happy.
I know.
And I was driving, and I started thinking, I was like, how I felt. And it's like a few days later, I just couldn't even describe to anybody how I felt about. It felt like I felt like $1 million woman.
So you were, for example, a 40. You thought you were a 40 what? And
and then I'm like, well, I said, you know what is this? When she told me the letter and the number, I was like, what is that?
Exactly.
It's like, who makes that? It's like, I never even heard of these sizes.
Or alphabet.
It's like, what alphabet? I only knew D. I don't know past D.
Oh my goodness.
So I started talking to my family, and I was like, there's something that I want to do in my life. It's scary because, you want to be secure. You have a job that you love, right. Income. And it's like, now I'm going into security, because now I'm going into something that's so unknown to me. Mm-hmm. But I just felt it's like, I can do this. I feel in my heart. I know that I'm going to be so good at this. And I said, if I can make every woman feel the way I'm feeling right now, what else do I want in my career? Mm-hmm. So I decided to call the owners of that place and ask them if they would give me a trial based, at least 30 days to learn and to see if this is actually what I wanted to do.
That's at the bra place.
At the bra place. Fantastic. In the meantime, I have a full-time job. I knew I was happy with what I do. And they were so nice. They actually told me, okay, try, let's do a week and see how you feel. And they offered me the job actually after 4 days.
Wow.
Full-time job. And they proposed.
You impressed them.
I impressed them. I impressed myself. I was like, I was flying through the place.
You had found your calling.
I knew it's like I felt reborn. I know. And I just, went to my other job and told them, I'm going to do this. And everybody was like, what is that? Mm-hmm. What do you mean you're going to fit bras? What kind of a job is that?
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I am going to go with it. I'm going to follow my heart, and I'm not going to stop. I know I'm going to be successful because this is something that I'm so happy to do. And here I am.
Here you are.
Here I am 15 years later.
I tell you.